Welcome, everybody. This is going to be the recap for this week ending on December 25th of 2020. If you've seen the thumbnail, winning at 100%. 100% winning trades. Is it possible? Can we do it? We'll take a look at that in just a minute because it's real important that we understand percentages. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about our results for this last week. And it was a fairly quiet week. I actually didn't do any trading on Sunday night. I didn't trade anything Wednesday night. And of course, we were closed on Thursday and Friday. So overall, it was a pretty quiet week. For the first trade of the day, we only had, what did we have? Three trades in the morning, four trades in the morning, running at 50%. Not bad considering that we had a pretty short week. In the evenings, we're much better, running at 100%. So on average, what's about 75%? Not bad, being kind of a crazy week. But the percentages still very good, kind of what I would expect overall. The USD JPY continues to be our strongest pair. If you've been watching these videos over the last several months, I've been talking a lot about focusing more on USD JPY. I continue to do that. Aussie and Euro always come in, second and third right now, and of course the Pound US, which I really don't do a lot of trading in. Now, if Pound US for some reason decides it wants to become the strongest pair, then I'll be looking at that, because typically what happens when you're trading these NADEX binaries, when one pair gets strong, it typically stays strong for a while. That's good information to have. And it also helps us traders because we want to make sure we're not trading something that's going to fizzle out in a week or so, right? So anyway, that being said, not a bad week percentage-wise for CB trades. Once again, didn't do a whole lot of CB trading this week. Everything was very, very quiet. Still overall, not a bad week. Still did okay. Nothing like I've been experiencing. But you know what? I would expect the coming week to be very similar to this week with Christmas and New Year's coming in on a Friday. We'll see a lot of activity at the beginning of the week, and then it kind of fizzles out, and we kind of see that in the results as well. But that's just to be expected. So let's get into something that I want to talk about, and that is something that I'm always asked. Everybody's always asking me, well, Ken, how accurate is your program? How accurate is your method? And it's funny because typically somebody's going to ask me that. I pretty much know right off the bat that they probably haven't been a trader very long. They're new to trading. And like any new trader, I was guilty of it too. We're always looking at, well, how accurate is something, right? I want to trade something that's 80, 90% accurate, right? If I can just find that, something that's going to trade at 80, 90%, and my God, I'm going to make a lot of money. Well, the question is that true? And the answer is no. In fact, even if something was 99% accurate, most of you traders out there listening to this will not be able to make money. Now, you may think I'm full of it. You may not believe it, but you really need to think about what you're doing when it comes to trading, okay? Just like life, all right? Everybody wants to trade at 100%, but life isn't 100%, all right? Now, there's probabilities in life. Think about getting up every morning, you go down to start your car, and the odds are pretty good that that car is going to start. But is it 100%? No. You're going to wake up one day, and you're going to go start your car, right? And the battery's going to be dead, all right? And that's what life's all about. Life's really all about probabilities. You just don't realize it, but you base your whole life off of probabilities. But nothing is at 100%, okay? So then you think, well, okay, so if I know that I have, a 90% probability or 99% probability my car's going to start tomorrow, and let's say the battery dies, does that mean that you fix the battery, it's going to work the following day? Does that mean you can't have a dead battery the following day? Well, the answer is absolutely no. Now, the probability is it is going to start the following day after you replace the battery. But there's always that element of what we call luck, which means that that battery may have been a defective battery and it may not start the next day. Or there may be something else going on that's draining the battery. So what I'm trying to show is that just because you have very high probabilities that your car is going to start the next day doesn't mean that it will. All right. And it's the same with trading. All right. Trading is the same thing. Trading is all about probabilities. And it's so funny because people just jump around from system to system, always looking for that method that has the highest probabilities without really thinking about the fact of it's kind of deceptive. All right. We get a lot of advertisement, 80%, 90%, 95%. All right. Do you really believe, okay, that somebody can trade at 90%? But let's just go with the fact that somebody can trade at 90%. No, let's go even further. Let's assume that somebody can trade at 99%. So let's take a look at something here. All right. So when somebody says that I have 90% wins, are they looking at 90% wins over the last 10 trades? Is that their sample size over the last 10 years? Do they have just 10 trades? Or do they have 100 trades? Or do they have 1,000 trades? And the question is that do you want to trade a method that was right 90% off of 10 trades? Or do you want a method that's been right over 1,000 trades? Well, for my money, I want to trade something that has 90% over 1,000 trades because that has stood the test of time, right? Most people never ask that question. So think about this. At 90%, let's say you're trading and something that has 90% winning trades over the last 1,000 trades, all right? That means out of the 1,000 trades, you're going to have 100%, or you're going to have 100 losses, all right? 100 losses. So out of that 100 losses, does that mean that you're never going to have 2 losses or 3 losses in a row? And that's why most people never think beyond this. They think, all right, 90%, I'm good to go. As soon as they get in, they have a couple losses, they're ready to give up. Why? Because they've had 2 losses in a row without thinking about the bigger picture. Without thinking, you have to look at things over a longer term period of time, over a bigger sample size. Just because you've had 2 or 3 trades that didn't work doesn't mean that you're still not going to hit at a winning percentage, all right? So just because you have 2 or 3 losses in a row, does that mean that your particular method is not going to keep hitting at 90%? Absolutely not. Is it possible that you can have 30, 40 trades in a row? Now, chances are that's not going to happen. But let's look at it realistically, all right? It could happen, and you could still be winning at 90% over the next 1,000 trades, all right? So what I'm trying to show here is I don't want you to get too hung up on percentages, and I don't want you to get too hung up on losses, because losses are part of the game. And if you can't stand 2 or 3 losses in a row and you're ready to throw in the towel, you shouldn't be trading anything. There's nothing out there, folks. I've been doing this for 40 years. There's nothing out there that's never going to have a loss, and there's nothing out there that won't have a string of losses. It's part of the game. How do you win then? How can you win trading? Well, first of all, you don't want to be underfunded, because that next trade, your first trade out of the gate, may be a loser. So you think you're going to make $50,000 a year starting to count with $200? You're kidding yourself. All right? You got to be realistic about your expectation. All right? So making sure that you have plenty of funds. Right? The other thing is you want to know that just because you have a loss doesn't mean you throw in the towel. All right, you've got to keep trading because you want to get into those percentages. But at the same time, more than that, is you have to know how to manage your size, your contract size, all right? Particularly with binaries, but it's true with stocks as well. Look at your successful stock traders. Do they trade the same lot size every single time? Of course they don't. They modify their lot size, all right? Some days they may come in with 10,000 shares. The next day you're seeing them trading 30, 40,000 shares, right? They're modifying their sizes. They're not just trading the same amount every single time, all right? You've got to be able to modify size. So you need a couple things, right? You need to you want something that's going to be stronger than 50%. And you also want to be able to know how to manage size. If you can't do that and you're not willing to practice and learn how to do that, folks, you don't need to be trading. There's nobody going to give you a signal out there that's going to be running at a consistent 90% because most people are using the wrong method when it comes to trading. All right? And I can promise you that I hope that if you trade and you use indicators, stochastics, moving averages, support and resistance, all right, I hope that you stop using those kind of things, because if you think about it realistically, and you can test this, don't take my word for it, go back and test it. Get yourself 20, 30, 40 years of data, and then take the first 20 years of that data and do all the optimization you want to do. Get it to where you're making 90% winning trades, 80% winning trades. I promise you guys, the next time you run it, then run it forward, test it, okay, in data that you haven't analyzed yet. So run it so you take the first 20 years and then run it forward for the next 20 years or for the next 1 year. You guys are going to find that it falls apart. You can't even go out more than a month or two without it falling apart, all right? Because you're basing your trading decisions off of something that has absolutely nothing to do with the way the markets work, all right? The way that the markets worked in the past doesn't mean it's going to work that way in the future, and it doesn't work that way in the future, all right? So anything that has to be optimized, it's not going to hold up over time. But the question is, what will hold up over time? Well, what will hold up over time are patterns. Patterns that don't have parameters to them. What I call behavioral patterns. And you have to learn what behavioral patterns are. You have to be able to learn how to trade and understand what behavioral patterns are, because behavioral patterns don't change. They repeat over and over again. And I've proven that over my 40 years of trading, that the patterns will continue to repeat over and over again. And how do you know that? Well, the only way to know that is to be able to take that and then trade it in untradeable data, or run it forward, or take it and run it real time to see if it actually holds up based on what you found, in the past. Okay, if something works in the past and it continues to work in the future, then I'd say you guys are on to something. All right, but I can promise you, these stochastics and everything, you're not going to find that those things hold up. All right, what does hold up are patterns. All right. And I've proven that over and over again in my own trading. I've proven it here in the chat room for the last 3 years. Behavioral patterns work, and they continue to repeat themselves. But just because something repeats itself at 80%, 90%, doesn't mean that the majority of you people are going to go out there and make money. All right? Majority of people, I'm telling you the facts. I know you don't want me to hear this. All these other guys are going to tell you that you just buy their system or their method and you guys are going to get rich. It's not reality. Don't believe me. A lot of you guys will turn off these videos, and you're going to go out there and you're going to keep looking for the next 20 years, and all you're going to do is end up losing money because you want to believe the hype, all right? And there is no easy way to making money, okay? The only way to make money is you have to be able to find something that's going to hold up, all right? It's going to have its probabilities, and then you, okay, are going to have to be able to trade those probabilities, all right? It's not the program. Okay, everybody wants to blame everything on everybody else, but it all gets down to you, all right, and how you trade. So the more you do it, the better you get at it. A lot of trading is feel. A lot of trading is instinct, all right? It's not just trading those consistently trading a particular method. There's going to be times in the market where data is just not going to work. Folks, that's reality, just like life. Nothing works in life all the time. They say in the markets you're probably looking at 15 to 20% noise. What does that mean? It means it's unpredictable. Who knows if, you're going to have a bombing tomorrow, or a president somewhere is going to get shot. There's a lot of unpredictable things that happen in the market. They will never be 100%. Remember, 15 to 20% of it is noise. So the best you guys are going to be doing is somewhere between 75 to 80%. If you're hitting at 75 or 80%, you are pretty much maxed out. And I'm talking about a long sample size. I'm not talking about the last month. I mean, who wants to trade for a month and quit trading? You guys are into it. I assume you're going to be trading for the rest of your life. So you have to look at everything in big sample size. All right. In 20 years, do you want to know that you hit at 80%? You know, or do you want to just kind of wing it, right? Or do you just want to trade something that promises you for the next 20 years that it's going to hold up like it did in the past? I mean, look at your tools. Look at the tools that you're using, and see if you think those tools are going to get you into the future. But it is a skill, and so trading is not only knowing how to trade probabilities, but trading probabilities. When you're trading probabilities, it's also knowing how to adjust size. Same with poker players. Poker players are the same way. Everything is about probabilities, right? And do they make money trading the same amount every single time? No, they adjust their bet size based on whether the probabilities appear to be in their favor, all right? But just because they're in their favor doesn't mean that next bet is going to win. There is an element of what they call luck here, right? So even though you have a 90% probability of winning, let's say, there's still an element of luck that next trade is going to be a winner or loser. It may be a winner, you got lucky. It may be a loser, it is what it is. You guys can't just give up because you have losses. You have to look at things over the long haul. The other thing is believing in what you're doing, all right? How can you believe in an indicator? How can you believe in using whatever method you guys want to use, support and resistance, when you have no statistics to back it up? I mean, how many times does it have to hit a support line, okay, before it bounces up? Is it going to be 2 times? Is it going to be 1 time? Is it going to be 3 times? Do you have any stats? And is every level going to be different? There's no way to quantify that. You see what I'm saying? But there is a way to quantify patterns. You can quantify patterns. You can look at them historically and see that they've worked. You can carry them forward in your data and see that they work. Okay, you can trade them real time and see that they work real time, and they work. And they work across the board, not just in one pair, not just in one commodity or one stock. It works across the board. That's what we're looking for, folks. Okay, so trading at 100%, winning trades, never going to happen. All right, 90% winning trades, probably never going to happen. Short term, maybe you can do it over a day or two. Long term, not going to happen. And if you guys can't accept that and you want to keep looking for the Holy Grail, then waste your money and keep looking, all right? Because I promise you, you're not going to find it. You've got to understand that everything is about probabilities. You've got to be willing to work with probabilities, and you got to figure out how to make probabilities work for you, all right? And that means not only continuing to stick with something that has high probabilities, because you've got to trade it over a consistent period of time, right? You want 90% wins over 1,000 trades, you got to make 1,000 trades to get that 90% win. But just because you have 2 or 3 losses doesn't mean you throw in the towel, which most of you will, and most of you will not be able to stick to it because also you don't believe in what you're doing. You have to believe in what you're trading. You have to be able to look at that pattern, whatever it may be, and say, not only, I see that it's worked in the past, but why should it work in the future? If you don't believe in what you're using, folks, you're not going to make it as a trader. And that's why 98% of the people don't make money, and 98% of the people are always complaining that you can't make money, okay? Because they can't make money, because they don't see the big picture, because as soon as they have a couple losses, they're ready to throw in the towel, all right? I don't know why people expect everything to be 100% when life isn't 100%. It's just, to me, it's funny, but I think a lot of people don't really take the time to really think about what they're doing when it comes to trading. But anyway, I'm going to keep talking about this over and over again because I get so many emails. How accurate is your system? It doesn't matter how accurate my system is, all right? Can you trade it? Is it repeatable? If something is it going to hold up over time? What is it based off of? That's the most important thing, all right? My best trading day, I was right 47%. All right. Does that mean that I couldn't? If I told you it's going to be 47% accuracy today, I'm not going to trade it. Why would I want to do that? 40%, because I know how to adjust contract size. All right. I hit it at the right time. Was there an element of luck? Absolutely an element of luck. No doubt about it. Because overall, my trades were only 47%. But I was playing probabilities, and I had the ones that I actually added to and put size on. I actually won. All right. So overall, the smaller little trades didn't come out. That's the way trading is, folks, and that's something you just have to accept. So anyway, I want to keep talking about that until you fully understand that everything is about probabilities. When you trade, know that you're trading probabilities, and you have to learn how to make probabilities work in your favor. All right, that's the key. That's what I teach. I have a method where it's based on very sound principles. They're called behavioral patterns. I know that those aren't going to change. The rest is based on probabilities and learning to work with those probabilities, learning to add when the probabilities are higher, pull back when the probabilities aren't as high. It's the same with poker. Everything else, anything else you do in life, it's the same way. All right. Sometimes you're gonna add, and it's just not gonna work. That's reality. I put size on days. I've had days when I was 90% accurate, and I still lost money because I put size on the wrong one. Well, I can't say the wrong one. It's the one that just didn't work out. All right. It's not that I did something wrong. It just didn't work out. All right. It's not about being right and wrong. It's about probabilities. You get frustrated every time you have a loss. You start beating yourself up. You guys are going to end up being, you're not going to be a successful trader. Just on the other side, every time you have a winning trade, you think how great you are and how smart you are. You guys are going to end up being a losing trader. All right. You're playing probabilities, folks. All right. You can't be 100%. So don't get so excited when you're winning. Don't get so upset when you're losing. It's all about just continuing to trade the numbers, you're trading the probabilities. If you can focus on that, you're going to come out ahead. If you can't focus on that, which most people can't, you're going to end up being a loser. So anyway, that's it. I want to be talking more and more and more about this because it's so important you understand this concept, particularly new traders that are always looking for that holy grail. They want to give up right away. And then next time, I really do want to talk more about, is it better to trade, short term, or is it better to trade longer term? And what are the advantages and disadvantages of both? All right. So we'll get more into that in the future. But for right now, I want to wrap this thing up. I want to wish everybody a really good trading week coming up here right before the New Year's. There's usually a couple really nice big days that we usually see, so I want to definitely take advantage of that. If y'all have any questions, go to my website, binaryprostrategies.com. Shoot me an email. I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. Please give me likes on these videos. Give me the thumbs up. Please subscribe. That helps my numbers. And looking forward to putting out some really good videos coming up here in 2021. I want to start shooting out some more educational material that I can give you guys that haven't bought the program, some stuff that I think that you can use to improve your trading. All right, but I need your email so I can send that to you. All right, because some of them will go out and some will be posted on YouTube and some will not be posted on YouTube. All right, so that being said, everybody have a great trading week, and we will see you next week for the next weekly recap.